Simões bending one for Torres. Eusebio. Oh my word! Have you ever seen anything like that?
Bem jogado por Simão, a passar por dois adversários. Simão a tentar oferecer o golo a Figo e a bola é golo! O golo da Figo!
Rui Costa vai, acreditou, vai tirar para o golo, atira, golo! 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 Cristiano Ronaldo, vai para Cristiano Ronaldo! Chutou!
And we welcome you to episode number 96, a live pod here on a Monday night, the last Monday of 2024, as we are bringing you a Seleção pod year in review of 2024. As it's just like 2 days away, or today and tomorrow, and then 2024 will be no longer, and 2025 will be here. My name is Danny Pinto. I am your host of the Seleção podcast. We, of course, are a proud partner of Portugal.net and of Palma Media. And we are just delighted to be back with you after a bit of a hiatus, a couple months here. Some stuff going on schedule-wise that could not be avoided in terms of just the timing of when the matches were played in October and in November. They had to take a much deserved family vacation in November. Had to be right in smack dab of the last two matches of Nations League, and then some family stuff going on in October. But we are back. Appreciate everybody reaching out. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we are looking forward to everyone watching us and interacting with us here on episode number 96, the year in review for the Seleção podcast. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to see if I can find it on YouTube, because my streaming service, for whatever reason, decided that Twitter was not going to be an option for whatever reason, and I'm trying to see if I can do that again. Let's see if we can go live on Twitter. Are we live on Twitter? We are not live on Twitter. What is it asking me here? A premium account on X is required to create live broadcasts. Well, I'm not going to do that. So it's Facebook and it's Instagram for right now. So and YouTube for right now. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. My God, James V. Right now, you are the only one. Well, three other people, but James, we appreciate you tuning in. I'm telling you, the whole Twitter X thing really messed me up here. As if I had a premium account, I'd go out to all of our followers on Twitter. So what I'm going to try to do, as I try to maneuver here in real time, what I'm going to try to do is send the link, or get the link, I should say, from the Twitter or from YouTube, and post it on Twitter. Let me see, Poland and Croatia. These are all homework assignments I was doing in the year in review for the show coming up. I am really Seleção, but nope. Try that again. Oh well, you know what? Hey James, do me a favor. Tell everybody on Twitter that we're live. So if you don't mind. But yeah, 2024, a bit of a mixed bag, I would say, of the Seleção. Obviously, the disappointment that was 2024, the Euros, going out as early as we did. Not what we wanted to do, not what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a little bit more of a fight from our Seleção, but we'll get that recap, an extensive recap of the entire year that was 2024 in just a couple of moments. No, Robert, No, this is a Seleção podcast for Portugal, not for Brazil. But Big Red, hope you're having a great holiday season, buddy. Miss you. Hope to see you soon. We, of course, are on all of the podcasting platforms that you can think of: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon. We are obviously on YouTube. Please make sure you like the page on YouTube. Hit the like buttons on anything that you're watching right now. If you're doing the old visual thing, if you are just listening to us via the old-fashioned podcast, again, give us any kind of positive rating that you can in whatever podcasting platform that you have, and of course, subscribe and share the show the best way you know how. And it's all free, guys. Everything that we do here in terms of trying to promote is done out of the bottom of my heart. But if we can get you guys to help me out a little bit with that, that would make sure that our show is shown a few more or pops up, I guess, more frequently for anybody who's looking for Portuguese football, any soccer podcast, football podcast, anything of that nature. So, and then, selecaopod.com is the website. And of course, you can always email us at selecaopod@gmail.com. So without further ado, let's get started with this 2024 year in review. I wrote down a bunch of notes, so if there are any comments, I would say for the next few minutes, just keep them posted, but I will not be able to get to you here. But as we entered 2024, Portugal is coming off of a perfect European qualifying campaign, 10 matches, 10 wins, and they ended up getting what we thought was a favorable draw against Czechia, Turkey, and what ended up being Georgia. In February, the Seleção and the Federation would finalize their friendlies heading into Euro 2024 with matches against Finland, Ireland, and Croatia in June, along with the friendlies that were coming up in March against Sweden and Slovenia. For those friendlies, the ones in March, we would see debut senior call-ups for Francisco Conceição and Jota Silva. Portugal would beat Sweden 5-2 in Guimarães on March the 21st, with goals from Rafael Leão, Mateus Nunes, and Bruno Fernandes in the first half, and then 2 more goals from Bruma and Gonçalo Ramos. Against Slovenia away on March the 26th, Portugal would suffer its first loss under Roberto Martinez, as they would lose 2-0 away at Slovenia. The debutant call-ups, as we mentioned, Chico and Jota Silva, they both made their debuts in these friendlies in March. Jota Silva coming off the bench in both of the matches, and Chico Conceição coming off the bench in the second half of the loss in Slovenia. We fast forward to May, and May the 21st, and Roberto Martinez would announce his 26-man squad for Euro 2024, which included Pep for what would eventually be his final call-up for Portugal, and we'll get to Pep in a little bit here. Goalkeepers were Diogo Costa, José Sá, and Rui Patricio. Defenders were Antonio Silva, Danilo Pereira, Diogo Dalot, Gonçalo Inácio, João Cancelo, Nelson Semedo, Nuno Mendes, Pep, and Ruben Dias. Midfield was Bruno Fernandes, João Neves, João Palhinha, Otávio, Ruben Neves, and Vitinha. And then the forwards and wingers were Bernardo Silva, Cristiano Ronaldo, the captain, Diogo Jota, Francisco Conceição, Gonçalo Ramos, João Félix, Pedro Neto, and Rafael Leão. The one change that would come would be the addition of Mateus Nunes, who would take over Otávio's spot. Now, Otávio had picked up an injury and would not be able to make it to Euro 2024. As we head to June, the June friendlies, Portugal beat Finland 4-2 on June the 4th at the Alvalade, with goals by Ruben Dias and Diogo Jota in the first half, and then 2 Bruno Fernandes goals in the second half. The friendly against Croatia on June the 8th, however, at the Estádio Nacional in Portugal, that was where the first kind of red flag of the Martinez era appeared. Even though we lost the match against Slovenia 2-0, still trying to figure out who might be on the team at that point. as we fast forward to June, we already know who the team that is going to Germany for Euro 2024 is going to be. And I would say that Croatia was the best team by far that the Seleção had played under Roberto Martinez up until that point. And Portugal was down 1-0 after the first half. They would tie early in the second with a goal from Diogo Jota, but Portugal would eventually lose 2-1. And again, I would say that that was as poor of a performance under Roberto Martinez to that point that Portugal had played thus far. The final friendly would be played in Aveiro at the Estádio Municipal on June the 11th, as the Seleção would head into Euro 2024 on the back of a 3-0 victory against Ireland. João Felix would score in the first half, and Cristiano Ronaldo would score for the first time in 2024. He would actually score twice in the second half. Portugal's first group match of Euro 2024 in Germany was against Czechia in Leipzig. Portugal would dominate the majority of the match, but would find themselves down 1-0 with about 30 minutes left to play in the second half. Portugal would find itself an equalizer with less than 10 minutes later on an own goal that was worked into the area by Vitinha and Nuno Mendes. And at the near end of the match, Roberto Martinez would bring on both Pedro Neto and Chico Conceição, and the former would assist the latter's game-winning goal, and a new Portuguese hero of the day was born. The result was not as easy as we would have wanted that day, but I know that as soon as Chico Conceição scores that goal, that winning goal, for the moment, we were all forgetting how tough of a match that ended up being. On match day 2, we saw Portugal take on Turkey on June the 22nd in Dortmund. Portugal would beat Turkey 3-0 on the back of a great performance by Bernardo Silva. A lot of flack Bernardo Silva had been taking on this podcast as well, but from a lot of people on not showing up in tournament matches for Portugal. He showed up in a big way in this match against Turkey, getting the opening goal and putting a man of the match worthy performance in this match. The second goal would come from a miscommunication between João Cancelo and Cristiano Ronaldo that turned into like a comical jubilation afterward, because a Turkish back pass found its way past the goalkeeper to double Portugal's lead at 2-0. They would take 2-0 at the half. The icing on the cake on this one was a second half goal by Bruno Fernandes, which was assisted by Cristiano Ronaldo. That assist would give Ronaldo 8 assists all time at the Euros, which is tied for first. So not only is he the all-time leading scorer at the Euros, he is now the joint leader in assists as well. That victory guaranteed Portugal first place in the group. So for all intents and purposes, they had really nothing to play for against Georgia. A lot of changes made in that Georgia match that took place in Gelsenkirchen on June the 26th. Ronaldo would start the match, and that is obviously that became during the summer a discussion point in terms of playing time, how much playing time, coming off the bench, should he be playing anymore? Should he be playing 90 minutes? All that stuff. Ronaldo would start the match, play 66 minutes, and give way to Gonçalo Ramos. I thought that he should have not played and saved his legs for the knockout stage, but that's old news at this point. This match would also be known as the Antonio Silva match for all the wrong reasons. As the young defender, a terrible back pass that in essence was given to Georgia. They converted that turnover into a goal less than 2 minutes into the match. And then it got worse for Antonio Silva as he was called for a penalty in the second half that Georgia converted to give them their much-deserved 2-0 victory. Portugal looked terrible in that match. Georgia had nothing to lose. and all to play for, and they played like that. So it was definitely something that that should have been a teachable moment, I should say, for this national team. I think Roberto Martinez mentioned that they were now ready to take on the knockouts because of that Georgia match. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but it's what the man said, so I can only report what he said here. So, but we mentioned Portugal finishing first place in the group. That gave them a round of 16 matchup on June the 1st in Frankfurt against Slovenia. And of course, Slovenia, as we remember, gave Portugal their first loss under Roberto Martinez in a friendly in March. We're going to go ahead and fast forward this match all the way to the first half of extra time. We're tied at 0-0 when a penalty is awarded to Portugal. Portugal knows, and the whole world knows, who's going to take this PK. It's going to be CR7. It's going to be the all-time leading scorer in international football. It's going to be Cristiano Ronaldo. And the Slovenian keeper, Jan Oblak, with a tremendous save, shuts Ronaldo out of scoring a goal in the Euros. And that would be some foreshadowing because he would not end up scoring any goals in the Euros. And that took us to the halftime of the first extra time. Ronaldo, of course, as we all remember, was holding back tears, had to be consoled by his teammate. You could see the weight of what he may have done or not done, how it impacted him. It could have been the last time we ever saw him in a Portugal shirt, and for it to be on a missed PK would have been just brutal for him. In the second half, another near disaster for another Seleção legend, as Pep, as we remember, lost his footing with about 5 minutes left to go, and he lost his footing. He lost the ball, which allowed Slovenia to go on a breakaway all by himself, the Slovenian attacker. But as we remember, and I'm going to say as we remember because this is all stuff that we know happened, but again, this is a 2024 recap. The first instance of the hero that was Diogo Costa that night in Gelsenkirchen. It was a save that obviously saved the match for Portugal. It extended life in Portugal's campaign at that moment at Euro 2024, and it allowed them to stay in the match, finish the 120 minutes 0-0, and get to penalties. And then we know Diogo Costa save, 3 consecutive saves in penalties against Slovenia. And Ronaldo would atone for the missed PK. He would go. I love that he went first. He got the goal. Bernardo Silva finished it off with the third one. Bruno Fernandes in the middle there with the second. And to me, that was the most drama-filled tournament match win for Portugal since the 2016 final against France at the Euros. And wouldn't you know that waiting for us in the quarterfinals of this Euro in 2024 was France. And they'd be waiting for us on July the 5th in Hamburg, and another scoreless 0-0 match, 120 minutes. The luck would not be on our side as we went to PKs again. France would hit all 5 of their PKs. Portugal would hit their first 2, and then João Felix would hit the post in the third round, and Portugal would not recover from that. So in the quarters, Portugal bows out. I mean, there's no shame in losing to France on paper, on the surface. But, 2 scoreless 120-minute matches, one heroic way to win it by Diogo Costa, the other just, absolute precision on the PKs for France. I saw a lot of people give João Felix a bunch of crap. I mean, yeah, he missed it. There's criticism there, but I mean, he didn't miss the goal. he hit the post. I mean, if that's 2 inches to the right, it's going in. So I think a lot of the criticism towards him was unfair just in that moment. I'll listen to criticism on if he should be on the team at all, given his lack of production at the club level. But I think in that moment, I think he stepped up, took a great shot, just a little bit too far left, hit the post, and didn't go in. And it's a game of inches, literally in that instance. So, yeah, it just sucked to go out that way. It just did. Lots of criticism, of course, towards Roberto Martinez, especially in the manner in which he used Ronaldo, especially when Ronaldo was ineffective, in my opinion, during the tournament. As I mentioned, he was held scoreless for the first time in any Euro, and he had the 1 assist in group play to Bruno Fernandes. And I gave these stats during the episodes, or during that recap episode. Of the 510 possible minutes that was played by Portugal at the Euros this year, Ronaldo played 486 of the 510. The only time he came off was during the Georgia match. So what is that? I think like 24 minutes he did not play. Conversely, and comparatively here, the group of Pedro Neto, Diogo Jota, João Felix, and Gonçalo Ramos together played 347. So 486 for, again, I know he's our GOAT. I get that. But I think one of the things that we were hoping for when Roberto Martinez was hired was someone who wouldn't, placate to Ronaldo in terms of, not being able to remove him from the game if he's ineffective. And we just didn't see that. And that for me, I was calling for Roberto Martinez's job. Obviously, we know he's still here. I think a lot of that was in the emotion of the match, or of the aftermath of the match. I questioned, Ronaldo being able to play for this national team effectively again. We would see later on in the year that may still be a little too early to say. Who knows? But it's just such a terrible feeling, and I think we all remember that feeling. It was extremely frustrating to exit that way in another major tournament. When, again, hope will kill you. It's the hope that kills you, I think, is the saying. And again, we have players from the top leagues in this world playing at a very high level. It just has not been a cohesive thing for the most part once it comes together wearing the red and green of the Seleção, the Verde e Vermelho, as the song goes. What was more frustrating was the likelihood, the eventual likelihood of it being Pep's final appearance in a Portugal shirt, which we would then get confirmation on in August, as he would not only retire from the Seleção, but he would retire from football as a player. He retired at the age of 41. He had 141 caps, which is second only to Ronaldo for Portugal. And without question, one of the most important players in the last 20 years for this national team. Obviously, we know Ronaldo's importance, but I would beg to see anyone who can bring up anybody else's name other than Pep who would fit that second spot if we're ranking here. Now I've said this many times. I've said this as we've kind of looked at Pep being at the tail end of his career, and then when I had that episode with Tom Kundert after the announcement of the retirement, Ronaldo is and forever will be the once in a lifetime generational talent for this that played for this national team. But Pep was the heart and soul of the Seleção. And I will believe that and firmly believe that until the day I die. I just think Pep exuded everything that anyone putting that shirt on should strive for. And I think even though we didn't see it really in the Nations League qualifying, we'll get to that in a couple of seconds here. It's going to be very interesting to see when the rubber hits the road what this team is like in tough moments without number 3 being in the back of that defense. Will be interesting to see. Indeed. We now head over to September and Nations League qualifying, as Roberto Martinez would give debut call-ups to Sporting winger Giovanni Kenda, Chelsea center back Renato Veiga, and Estoril right back Thiago Sanches, though none of them would see the field in September. Renato Veiga would show up big time for the Seleção in the next couple of months. Martinez would also bring back Pedro Gonçalves, Francisco Trincão, and a just a one-time appearance by keeper Rui Silva. On September the 5th at the Luge, Pep was honored before the opening Nations League group match against Croatia. Obviously, I wish that would have been at the Dragão. I'm a Benfiquista, obviously, but Pep made his trade in Portuguese football, not only putting on the Portuguese national team shirt, but with Porto, and I wish the Dragão would have been the setting for that. Obviously, he had his moments, his retirement moments with Porto and at the Dragão. But it would have been serendipitous if we could have had that for the national team as well. But Pep was honored before that match. Portugal would open up group play with a 2-1 win against Croatia with goals from Diogo Dalot and Cristiano Ronaldo, which would be his 900th career senior goal for both country and club. And he was as sharp as he had been in a Portugal shirt, I would say in a long time during that match, and I would say during the majority of qualifying, Nations League qualifying here. I thought he had a little bit of a pep in his step. And as we go back to Pep, no pun intended, Pep's retirement, as I kind of foreshadowed here, kind of gave us an unknown reality of who's going to pair with Ruben Dias at the back going forward. In this match, Gonçalo Inácio would get the first call up of the post Pep era, but it would be a different center back pairing 3 days later at the Luge once again on September the 8th, as it would be Ruben Dias and Antonio Silva being paired there. Scotland was the opponent. They would get to a 1-0 lead inside of 10 minutes that they would carry to halftime. Ronaldo, instead of starting, coming off the bench in this match, he would kind of be the difference here in more ways than one, as the team itself looked different, more attack-minded when Ronaldo came in. Bruno Fernandes would tie things up at 1-1 in the second half. And then in the 88th minute, after Ronaldo had hit the post a couple of times, I believe, he would put away a cross from Nuno Mendes that would give Portugal all 3 points against Scotland, and the 6 points in the first 2 matches in September would put Portugal atop of their Nations League group. In October, Roberto Martinez would give debut call-ups to Farense keeper Ricardo Velho, and Mallorca midfielder Samu Costa. On the 12th of October, Portugal would take on Poland in Warsaw, which saw Portugal win 3-1. Goals by Bernardo Silva and Cristiano Ronaldo in the first half. And then the third goal came on an own goal in the 88th minute after Poland had cut the deficit in half 10 minutes earlier. Another match. I wrote a lot of notes in this here. So if you can tell that I'm reading. But another match following Pep's retirement saw another different center back pairing, as Ruben Dias would be paired with Renato Veiga to get his first call up. And from all accounts, and watching the game, I thought he did very, very well in his first match. Not easy to have your first match away at a European matches away against a decent opponent. Not going to call Poland super good here, but against a decent opponent, could give you some nerves. I thought he played very, very well, very, very comfortable. Samu Costa also would get his first cap coming off the bench in the final minutes of that match. October 15 would see Portugal head to Scotland in what would be a very uneventful 0-0 draw in Glasgow. Portugal dominated the stat lines, but never were able to break through. Antonio Silva would be the first center back to get a repeat pairing with Ruben Dias in this game. They had very light work in this match. Scotland really never did anything to give any defense or even Diogo Costa any kind of work. And after 4 matches through October, they're on 10 points, where Portugal still atop the Nations League with 2 matches left and qualifying for the quarterfinals, almost a certainty at that time. In November, the final call-ups of 2024 saw Lazio left back Nuno Tavares get his debut call-up. Also, you would see the debut call-up of where's my notes here, of Tomás Araujo. And it would be the best game of the qualifying period for Portugal, of the 6 that they had. What was a very boring start to the match against Poland in Portugal at the Dragão on November the 15th. What was very boring in the first half turned into fireworks in the second half, as Portugal would score all 5 of their goals in the second half to win 5-1. An unbelievable run by Rafael Leão, and link-up play between he and Nuno Mendes. Those two are going to be a problem the more they play together. A beautiful play, a beautiful ball into the box following the run from Nuno Mendes that Rafael Leão would head in for the eventual, or for the 1-0 victory, or for the 1-0 goal. And then the floodgates kind of opened after that, because 12 minutes later, Ronaldo would hit from the penalty spot to make it 2-0. 8 minutes after that, Bruno Fernandes with an absolute bomb from about 25 yards made it 3-0. 3 minutes after that, Pedro Neto with a great goal to get it to 4-0. And then the goal to cap off qualifying, to cap off Ronaldo's kind of 2024, as he would not play in the game against Croatia. A gorgeous chip from Vitinha to Ronaldo, a bicycle kick at 39 years of age in the back of the net, gave Portugal their 5th goal of the match. A 0-0 goal by Poland at the end made the score 5-1. And with the result of the Scotland Croatia match, Portugal won their group, made it to the quarterfinals of the Nations League with a match to spare. And with that, a lot of tinkering happened with that last match in terms of the roster on November the 18th in Croatia, as Giovanni Kenda and striker Fabio Silva were called up from the under-21s. Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva, Pedro Neto, they were released from the national team, from their national team commitments to return back to their clubs, because qualifying had already happened. Diogo Costa, Nuno Tavares. Nuno Tavares would get his first senior call-up the match before against Poland. Only played 9 minutes. Picked up maybe a slight knock that wasn't worth playing him in a match that did not matter. So they got sent home, him and Diogo Costa, due to just I would say injury, just for lack of a better term. And then Bruno Fernandes was not going to be available after a yellow card accumulation during qualifying. So it would be a debut start for Tomás Araujo at center, paired with Renato Veiga. So that was cool to see that youth on display at center back. Thiago Jallo would also come in and play center back, as he would replace Araujo, and that would give Jallo his first cap off the bench. Fabio Silva would get his first senior cap off the bench as well, replacing Rafael Leão in the second half. Kinda had a chance to be the youngest player ever to play a match for Portugal on the senior level, but he was not used as a substitute. So if you guys know who the youngest player is, put it in the chat and let me know who is the youngest player to ever play for Portugal. I will give you a round of applause as the prize. So whoever is the first person to get that correct on the chat, please let me know in the chat, and I will shout you out. João Felix would score Portugal's last goal of 2024 in the first half to give Portugal a 1-0 halftime lead, but the game would end in a 1-1 draw. 4 days after that, on November the 22nd, during the Nations League knockout bracket draw, we come to find out that Portugal was drawn to take on Denmark in a away or a home and home or away home 2-leg fixture. Those matches are going to take place on March the 20th in Denmark, and then March the 23rd in Portugal at the Alvalade. The winner of the quarterfinal will take on the winner of Italy and Germany either on June the 4th or 5th. And then the winners of the semifinals will meet in the finals of the Nations League for 2024-25 on Sunday, June the 8th. On November the 27th, it became official that Puma would be the new shirt distributor, manufacturer, whatever it is, for Portugal. That will begin in 2025, early part of 2025. On December the 27th, after 27 years, so 27 big in this recap in the last 30 seconds here. After 27 years with Portugal or with Nike, Portugal said goodbye to Nike with some of the best jerseys I've ever seen. The 2004 jersey is my favorite. The 2016 jersey obviously has a big has left a huge mark on me personally. Got the jersey, the Ronaldo jersey of 2016 right behind me. Have the Luis Figo jersey behind me as well. I love the Azulejo jersey for the last campaign. So Portugal did a lot of, even though it became a bit cookie cutter, I would say midway through that relationship, I would say Portugal ended on a bang with that away jersey. And I like the leaked Puma jersey so far. You shouldn't mess with the red jersey. Let's just call that. I mean, I like this green. If you guys are watching here on YouTube, and if you are, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share it with your family and friends. I did not like this green, I guess, sash, for lack of a better term, or whatever, at first, but I've grown to love it. I think this was the 2010 jersey. But I do like the leaked jerseys for Puma. I especially like the away jersey. I like I like the aesthetics of it. Again, as our good buddy Eric Vieira is welcome to say all the time, until you see it on the field, you kind of have to just kind of hold your tongue on, giving any kind of verdict of what those things are actually going to look like when you see them on the field. In December, we also said goodbye to another Seleção legend as Nani retired from the game of football on December the 8th. 112 caps, 24 goals, and both he and Pep saying goodbye to football, and obviously part of the huge accomplishment that was winning 2016's European Championship. On December 11th, it was finally made official that the 2030 World Cup will be hosted by the entire world. Everybody's hosting, apparently. Portugal included, thank God. But they did dwindle it down to just 6 countries. Portugal, Spain, Morocco will host the majority of the 2030 World Cup, with opening matches in Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay to commemorate the 100 years since the first World Cup took place in Uruguay. You could have had a South American World Cup if you wanted to do that to commemorate that, but the first time I try to think that FIFA is going to make sense, or UEFA, that'll be my mistake. On December the 12th, my birthday, no big deal. The World Cup qualifying groups for UEFA were announced, although it's not yet certain for Portugal yet, and I'll tell you why and remind you guys. So if Portugal beats Denmark in the Nations League quarterfinals, Portugal will be part of Group F along with Hungary, Ireland, and Armenia. If Portugal somehow loses to Denmark, not somehow, I shouldn't say it that way. If Portugal loses to Denmark, Portugal then goes into Group C along with Greece, Scotland, and Belarus. I think I'd rather go Group F. But I think, again, those are two groups that no matter which group they're in, Portugal should find themselves at the top of that group at the end of qualifying. So overall, in 2024, for Portugal, kind of by the numbers here, 5 friendlies, 3 wins, 2 losses, 13 goals scored, 6 goals against. Euro 2024, knocked out of the quarterfinals. Excuse me, that was disgusting, but that just came up on me here, and I'm just going to have a little bit of water as I just, there it is. All right, professional, thy name is Danny. But Euro 2024, quarterfinals appearance, 5 matches, 3 wins, 2 losses, 5 goals scored, 3 goals against, and 2 0-0 knockout matches that went to penalties. And then in the Nations League group, 6 matches, 4 wins, 2 draws, 13 goals scored, 5 goals against. So 16 total matches in 2024, 10 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, 31 goals scored, 14 goals against. The top scorers of 2024 were Ronaldo with 7, Bruno Fernandes with 6, own goals in 3rd place with 4, and then have a quartet in 4th place of Rafael Leão, Diogo Jota, João Felix, and Bernardo Silva, each of those gentlemen with 2. And then Mateus Nunes, Bruma, Gonçalo Ramos, Ruben Dias, Chico Conceição, Diogo Dalot, and Pedro Neto. They each had a goal in 2024. Portugal came into 2024 the 7th ranked team in the world according to the FIFA rankings, and as they enter 2025, they are ranked 6th in the world in the FIFA rankings. So what does 2025 look like at the moment? The only thing for sure right now is these matches against Denmark in March. Other than that, we know that qualifying begins in September, but we don't know who our group is going to be. We know it could be one of 2 groups, but we really don't know anything other than that. So what are the things that we kind of know, and what are things that we have to kind of look forward to, or kind of need to get an answer to, I should say? We know that Diogo Costa is our number 1 goalkeeper. Easy. There's no question there. What we don't know yet is who is our best center back pairing following Pep's retirement. And again, that's why I kind of pounded the information on, this was the center back pairing in this game. This is the center back pairing in this game. When we first started this podcast, the thing that I saw, or the thing that was a discussion point in the beginning was, who's going to be Pep's replacement? Who's going to be Pep's replacement? Who's going to be Pep's replacement? And we thought, we'd get an answer to that years before 2024. But now we thought Ruben Dias getting that spot kind of closed that. But now it's like, who's going to be paired up? Or I'm sorry, who's going to pair with Pep is what I was trying to say. Who's going to pair with Pep? We finally got that answer now with Ruben Dias. Then it was like, when Pep is going to retire, who's going to step up and play with Ruben Dias? We don't know that. We do not know that right now. Antonio Silva, Gonçalo Inácio, Renato Veiga, those are the 3 names that got the most play after Pep's retirement. You have Diogo Leite playing in Germany. You have Thiago Jallo, who got a little bit of run as well in the Nations League. But we don't have a clear-cut number one. I, for one, I liked what I saw. Oh, and Araujo too. I really liked what I saw from Renato Veiga in the couple of matches that he started. I don't know if it's enough to be like, yeah, he's the number, or he's going to be the pair with Ruben Dias. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Roberto Martinez does, and obviously in terms of availability too. Ruben Dias right now out for I think a month with Man City with injury. I don't recall what the injury is, but I know that he's out for like 3 to 4 weeks, so we'll just call it a month. Who's going to be available, who's going to be in form, who's going to be healthy when it comes to the call-ups in March of 2025 for the quarterfinals against Denmark. As I mentioned, World Cup qualifying that begins in September of 2025. 6 matches in group play, so much like the Nations League, there are 6 matches in qualifying there. What I think I do know is that Vitinha is an automatic start and essential to the success of this national team going forward. He has been he's just been absolutely phenomenal since he's been inserted into this national team and getting the run that he's been getting. I look forward to him growing in his role with this national team and being a vital part of this national team and the success of this national team going forward. I think I know that the more Nunes and Rafael Leão play together on this national team, the worse it's going to get for the opposition. I would say midway through the Nations League qualifying, they were a terror, an absolute terror to deal with. Actually, Nunes had a tremendous Nations League qualifying campaign, and I thought Rafael Leão started to take that next step as a contributor, consistent contributor for this national team. And finally, like, I don't know how much Ronaldo has left, but I think I'm going to stop thinking about it, or at least I'm going to try and just kind of enjoy it for what it is. It seems that he's got a different mindset since the Euros, and is kind of enjoying the role as the elder statesman. I think you saw that in his play, giving the ball up a little bit more freely and frequently. But I would love to be able to get to the end of 2025 with him being part of a second Nations League championship and us qualifying for World Cup 2026, and he being a vital part of that success. I'd love that. We'll see what happens in these matches in 2025 and what international football looks like for him going forward. So that is 2024. As I now transition here to the back to the video here. I don't know if anyone's. Oh my God, there it is. Sorry, we got a lot of people in the chat here. So, Sylvia Manuela Costa, know her, love her. Looking forward to working with her once again in 2025 with Palma. She's looking forward to hearing the pod for the World Cup. Well, you know what? We got to get there first, Sylvia. Nas contas galinhas antes dos nascerem, okay? I don't know if that's the right way to say it in Portuguese. I know we don't have that saying really in Portuguese, but I think I translated it correctly. Let's go with good friend Taylor Amarante, who after 11 years has called it quits in terms of his work with the San Jose Earthquakes. And Taylor and I started a relationship, I think, during COVID, of all things. We've known each other a little bit beforehand, but really started doing the a lot of the podcasting and entertainment stuff, really during COVID. I'm very proud to know him and proud of his success, and look forward to whatever he's got going on in his future. That dude is massively talented, and I look forward to seeing what is next for him. But Portugal, he says that Portugal is winning it on American turf and world at the World Cup in 26. We manifesting this thing. Let's go. Well, you know what, Taylor? As I take a sip of water, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, pal. Oh, we have I haven't even asked for I guess like New Year's resolutions, but here's one from James V. My 2025 wish is that Mora replaces Bruno as the starter. Well, we'll see. That dude, Rodrigo Mora, is that child is going to be a problem. Jason Jardine, Pep calling it quits was his big moment of the year. Hard to disagree there. He was the engine. I absolutely agreed. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. NPAC 20, that 24 away. Yeah, it was fire. It was absolute fire. Sean Harkin. Sean says, been waiting for this. Here's to a straightforward 2025 for the Seleção and maybe a trophy too. I'm with you, dude. I am with you. Hey, Sam S. What a pleasant surprise to open YouTube at 4 a.m. NL. I don't know where NL and the podcast is on. Buddy, if you're still listening, let me know where you're at, because I'm terrible with initials and I'm terrible about knowing other places in the world. Remember, if you guys remember, I had an issue with knowing that Toronto is not the province, or is not the capital of Canada. Ontario is not the capital of Canada. Ontario is the capital of Canada. Sorry, Ottawa is the capital of Canada. Jesus. And that Ottawa and Toronto are in Ontario. All right. I hope that the 6 is the Netherlands. There we go, Sam. Thank you very much. Someone is watching you drink your water. Yeah, Robert, you know who it is? It's my wife. So yeah. The one thing I do want to get, I want to make sure that we get out there. This show took, I think, another leap in a good way. With these live broadcasts during the Euros. I want to thank Nathan Moats, Eric Vieira, Eric Krakauer. I don't know if we had any more. I do apologize. I'm going to look on the page here to see who if anybody I forgot. But these podcasts are so fun. They're so fun. I want to do them, and I'm going to do them for a long, long time. I know we had that hiatus in October and in November, but there's no doubt in my mind that I want to be doing this for a very, very long time. And I do that because A, I love doing it, but B, you guys make it so fun, especially on these live shows. I'm going to fix the Twitter thing. I'm going to talk to Elon, see what we can do there. But I want to thank everybody who came on the pod this year. Taylor Amarant, when we were discussing Portuguese problems, the RTP comedy show that he was a part of with the Portuguese kids, Derek DeMello and Brian Martins. I want to thank them for coming on in March. Matthew Marshall, always a great contributor to these podcasts, as we previewed the Euros with the roster announcement. Having Eric Vieira, Nathan Moats on these live pods, a guy like Bob Gurgit from Turkish football, being able to talk to him about that was great. doing the Twitter Spaces after the win against Turkey was wild, because I think we had people like from India calling, and both Eric Vieira and I are pretty certain that there were gunshots in that during that interview, or during that call with someone from India. So there was that. Eric Krakauer, again, as I mentioned, as being part of the live show, getting Derek Ray of Fox Sports back on the show. We had him during the World Cup in 2022. Was lucky enough to contact him and get him back on the pod, and grow that relationship even more. Derek Ray is a legend in the broadcasting game, a game that I play. EAFC 25, got that about a month ago. If you're online and if you play on the PS5, I just got myself a PS5 for my birthday. If you are looking to play someone in FC 25, look up Seleção Pod, friend me. I'll play with you, and just go easy on me. Just go easy on me very much. I just want to have a good time. Just want to meet some of the folks that listen to me, and I think it'd be fun to do that on PS5. And finally, obviously, Tom Kundert. A scheduling snafu, totally my fault. Prevented me from getting Tom, who traditionally comes on the last episode of the year. I just want to thank Tom, as always, for the relationship that this podcast has with Portugal.net. I also want to thank Palma Media for giving me the opportunity this year to do play-by-play in Portuguese for the San Jose Earthquakes. That was a thrill of a lifetime. So I want to thank Nelson Late and Sylvia for reaching out to me and making a no bullshit, a dream come true of doing play-by-play for a major league in the United States and Canada. It was wild. My partner, Anderson Terra, also Michael Hosha. We had a lot of fun, and a certain little dude from Miami is coming to San Jose this year, or in 2025. So I can't wait to call that game as well. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, I love doing this show for you guys. I do it for me as well, but by proxy, I love that you guys love it as well. And I so greatly appreciate my wife and my boys for giving me the space to do this. I'm not one who, I don't pound my fist. I'm like, listen, I'm going to do the podcast, and you guys are just going to have to wait. No, I try to keep them involved. I try to keep them involved in whatever I do in my life. Obviously, I'm a husband, I'm a father first. Those are the first two things that I am. But the support that they give me to do this show, is just awesome. And I greatly appreciate Suzette, my wife, my two beautiful boys, Eliseo and Lucas. And I can't wait for 2025 for us as a family. And I can't wait for 2025 for this podcast and all the followers of this podcast as well. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this year in review that was 2024 for the Seleção. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you guys continue to give me in this passion project, that it continues to still be. I have a passion for this. I hope that comes out when we do this, when we do the pod. And I say we, the royal we, because I don't like to put the attention on me. It's we, the community. I feed off of you guys. I feed off of our guests. I feed off the support that I get. And I just can't thank you guys enough for everything that you guys have done for me in 2024. And since this thing started in 2018, it's been amazing. So for the last time in 2024, this has been Danny Pinto, your host of the Seleção podcast. And as always, FORÇA Portugal! Happy New Year, everybody.